What's up, Diablo 4 players? So, massive update coming out very soon. In 4 days, we're going to be getting a patch that is going to actually buff a bunch of stuff, but there is a nerf to the Sorceress's best build, and surprisingly, Barbarian is getting a buff to one of the builds that's already top tier. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So, by the way, really quick, I want to get out the date for this patch. This is going to be July 10th over here is when this patch is going to be coming out. The patch is not live yet, but let's go over really quick all the info that you want to know, rapid fire really quick. So, starting right off, the sale price of boss summoning materials has been increased, but it's still not enough. At least that's how I feel. Let's go over the numbers here. So the blackened femur, gurgling head, trembling hand sell price has been increased from 20 to 50,000 gold. So a little bit more gold over there. And then the Stygian stone sell price has been increased from 70,000 to 150,000. Now, if you engage in Diablo trade, you know that you can just go sell these for way more on other websites. So they should probably bump this up even more, just so the players that do not want to engage in players not responding on the trade website, which is definitely a thing and it's quite annoying. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be overall a gold buff, but I still think that this could be increased a little bit more. I don't necessarily want to say that they need to increase to whatever they're selling it for on the websites, but just enough to make it so it's a little bit more worthy. This is still kind of on the lower end. Now, another nicer change for the players that maybe want to build an alt character, the tempering manual drop rates have actually got increased and more consistent. So that is going to be a very nice change for anyone, again, that is building out an alt character. But I actually recently uploaded a video. If you guys need specifically those tempering manuals, because we had to refarm them on the PTR, do specifically Gregor and Barshawn. They actually have a pretty high drop rate. I'd say it's about 50-ish% that they will be dropping these tempering recipes. So just go there. That's your best, chances. Now, again, don't do it yet, though. I would wait to pop those on July 10th because, well, they're going to be more consistent when the update hits. Now, this is a change. I want to give them some feedback as a Diablo partner. The Elixir drop rate being reduced is actually kind of a nerf to the Angel Breath, which is already a resource that is very scarce, and I think that it's a little bit stingy on the drop rate. But crafting these elixirs can actually cost a lot of the Angel Breath, and I think that they should relook at either the cost of Angel Breath to craft some of the elixirs, or just make the elixirs cost more of the bundled herbs, because doing some of the Legion events, that's a great way to get some of these herb for crafting materials. But again, dropping the reduced rate is just going to make those more expensive, so to speak, because again, the kind of bottleneck is the Angel Breath. But let me know, guys, how you feel about that, as I really want them to increase the Angel Breath like drop rate or reduce the cost. Hopefully in Season 5, that's at least how I felt, but again, let me know your thoughts on that. Next up, the tempering affixes now have an icon associated with them in a category instead of the same icon, and I think this is pretty good. This is kind of a change that we've seen across some of the aspects as well in Season 5 for the PTR. They've actually added this thing where you can kind of see them in colors, and I think it really does help out, so you don't accidentally click on like the wrong one, right? So this is just a nice quality of life thing, but it doesn't really matter too much. Now, there are a bunch of bug fixes, but I mentioned that there are some buffs in here, and I'm just going to go over some of the important ones. I'm not going to really care about like, oh, if the person gets stuck, but I'm going to talk about the stuff that actually matters for builds. So Bold Chieftain's aspect was not working for the Druid's Debilitating Roar or Bloodhowl. Now, honestly, with Debilitating Roar, this is a really good skill, and yeah, this is definitely a buff to the Druid, but Bloodhowl, you pretty much can keep that up most of the time anyways, but overall, still a nice little buff. And then on top of that, they actually changed another thing for specifically the Necromancer, which is good, where when you would use the tempering affix to increase corpse tendrils crowd control duration, which wasn't really used, but let's say you accidentally got this one and because you just got unlucky and you didn't get the one that you want, maybe you were getting the different radius on it to increase the size, well, it would actually take longer to pull in the enemies because of its size. So overall, nice little buff with that. They fixed a bug with Yen's Blessing. And so with Yen's Blessing with the Bone Prisons, it would cause an issue where it would actually persist indefinitely, which actually is kind of a nerf if you look at the one where you're supposed to be able to get the Bone Prison to shoot out the things. But it's overall a nicer quality of life because, well, what's going to happen is sometimes you'll get stuck. Now, this is where it gets kind of interesting, because we have a issue that was fixed where fire bolts going near but not through firewall would split into 3 when using Flame Weaver. Now, this is pretty big for the Sorceress, and this could maybe be the end of the really top tier Sorceress build. Now, if you guys probably seen before the Firewall Firebolt Sorceress, you could just throw the Firewall and then you would just shoot into it. It wasn't actually going completely through. So we'll have to wait and see with gameplay, but as far as I can tell, this is a massive, massive nerf, because how you would play this build, especially on controller, this is big, because, well, on controller, you don't really have that much control over aiming, and it's just going to throw the firewall on top of the thing, and then when you shoot the fire bolt, it's not going to go, it's just going to stack on top of each other. So you would not be able to hit the target and get the bonus, because it wouldn't be going through, but it would be going near. Now, again, I'm going to consider this one a halfway unknown here, but I could definitely say that this would be, overall, it's definitely a nerf. Now, how that interaction works on controller, that might be almost unplayable on controller, as again, how would you really control it? It's just going to activate the firewall on top of the monster, and then it wouldn't go through it. Hopefully this kind of makes sense. Yeah, not so good for the Sorceress, but on top of that, there are a bunch of things getting buffed, and one of them, guys, I could not believe it, but like, there is a meme in the Diablo community where they say, nerf the Sorceress, buff the Barbarian, and they literally did that. That is the top build, again, with the Firebolt. Now, they are buffing Dust Devil's aspect, because there's a lot of things getting fixed here, which is good. So they're fixing an issue where the following aspects were not dealing as much damage as intended. So maybe these can be a little bit more viable. Now I can tell you the Whirlwind Dust Devil Barbarian is already top tier and it's getting buffed. So instead of reading these, because some of you guys are like, what's the aspect of surprise? I'll go over those. So really quick, the Barbarian with the Dust Devil build, that's getting buffed. Awesome. So that's going to be good, and it is already top tier, and we'll be dropping a build guide for Season 5 very soon, as there's not too many changes other than throwing on the anger management aspect, but Dust Devils is looking even stronger in Season 5, and, well, in 4 days it's going to be even better. Now, as far as the aspect of surprise, this is where you evade or shadow step. You're going to leave these cluster grenades. I would say as far as cluster grenades, it's a really hard build to play. You can complete a Pit 100 with it, but it is very rough. I probably wouldn't recommend doing like Flurry or any of these like stun grenade builds, not until Season 5. In Season 5, Flurry is actually pretty good, but I don't know what they're increasing these damages to. I don't know if it's just like the increased grenade skill or this X damage, which was apparently not dealing the correct damage, because again, they're saying that it was, these are all in bug fixes, but again, this is straight up a buff to some of these things. So I don't know if this is going to be viable, but you can maybe try it out. All right, next one over here is the Trickster's aspect. So Caltrops now throws stun grenades that will explode. Actually, hold on, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is another buff over here. So the Caltrops that throws the grenades, you usually didn't use this for the damage, but you would use this specifically for the, like, not the X damage on when you throw the Caltrops, but specifically getting the stun grenade like damage bonus, which was nice. And then over here we got the Vengeful aspect, which is when you damage a vulnerable enemy, you have a chance to throw out these arrow storms out of a location, which deals some sort of physical damage over some sort of duration. Now, as far as I'm aware of, this is not like a really terrible build in Season 5. In Season 4, I didn't really see any really good builds, but I recently watched one by Woody, and it actually looked okay for like Pit 100 on the PTR, so this could be something to look forward to later, but as far as right now, maybe this buff will actually make it deal good damage. Next up, over here, we have another thing for the arrow storms. Our marksman skills have a chance to create an arrow storm at the location. Now, this one doesn't require vulnerability. Now, it deals some sort of amount of damage, and then your arrow storms deal more damage, and you can have up to 5 arrow storms. Hopefully, it's probably just going to be this number over here, whatever the damage, but if they buff the other damage, I don't know what was the bug over here. They didn't specify, but maybe you can look at these for specifically the next season. The next thing is the Artful Initiative, which is when you spend the resource, releasing those cluster grenades are going to deal some more damage, and then your grenade skills actually have increased range with higher potential, increases to X25 to 40. So basically, stun grenades, arrow storms, and then the Whirlwind Barb are kind of looking like the things to go ahead and consider if you want to go ahead and take these buffs. Well, it's more so bug fixes, but again, it's straight up a buff to these builds. But let me know, guys, if you're excited to try out anything new. For me, I was genuinely surprised that they're just like, yeah, if it's bugged, though, guys, they do need to fix these bugs to make it so it does appropriate damage. But Barbarian looking even stronger, and it was already a top tier build. But anyways, yeah, have some fun with the new update. What do you guys think of it? Do you guys disagree or agree with any of these changes? For me, I really want to see Sorceress get some buffs, man. It has been really rough for Sorceress, so hopefully they can really take in that feedback and make it strong later on. But that's going to wrap it up for the patch update that is coming out on the 10th. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here, hit subscribe, turn the bell so you don't miss out on more more Diablo and other gaming updates, because we got a lot of action RPG goodness coming out very soon. Last Epoch, PoE, a lot of good stuff coming very, very soon. But anyways, take care. I'll catch you guys in the next video.